right into the pistol round.
I'll try and get the sound right. JDG on defense, we got Trace on attack, and we have a Sage, so it's kind of cool.
Just a bit of slow play to start this one off. Neither of these teams wanting to take that risk so far, and with a scan out of Stu, it means they're gonna have to back away. But two members.
Oh, dude, I think we're gonna lag chat. I think I need to refresh.
No, not at all. Especially you're looking at it as well. It's not. There's no Viper, or well, there is the Viper, but the Viper orb hasn't fully gone down just yet.
Okay, not gonna see any kills for a bit. We're all good.
Let
me
get that one way to kind of buy time, which I quite like. It does mean that the Viper toxin, the bar does stay full up. It means you get to use the Viper wall a bit more sparingly, or a bit less sparingly, I should say, a bit more proactively and aggressively. So really interesting to see
how
the
far away we are.
Smoke actually committed to that to keep it up. But of course,
there's an Icebox with Trace's spammer ban. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen him, mate.
JDG playing fully for this retake, not a single player on this site, and it means that Trace has so much space to work with. They've spotted some.
Jesus, they're already planning.
They've got a bit of information. The question is, do they push forwards or just play this one out?
Kai falling off 410 immediately. That's excellent. I want to see that. But yeah, whether they do play it out, that 5 versus 5 retake, as you've said, the Cove does go down. One of the strongest pieces of utility to kind of hide in. It does need broken, very similar to a Sage wall, but JDG seems so confident on this take. That Sage wall that you had mentioned, if somehow, Martin was to get a 4K, they've also got to tear down an entire wall to get to that spike.
No duelist comp. I mean, this is like one of the only maps you can make it work.
And I feel like this is sometimes the difficulty for some teams. When
you saw nothing, I mean, at least you heard it though.
It's almost like, what do we do now? Like we were expecting to kill someone. We were expecting.
Why did Trace go down after qualifying for Bangkok? Map ball for sure. They were only good at 2 maps.
Not a lot of teams are ready for in the post plant, and Trace not taking advantage of the space they could have gained, instead trying to play back and getting cut off, like I said, by the Viper wall, by the Sage wall, and the retake was just so clean, so efficient.
Oh, we're so close.
Incredible stuff, and it's nice seeing. I really do want to see more of it. The Sage Harbor setup is just more of a, we will build things that you have to tear down. We will put up like an additional 400, 500 HP to rip apart is absolutely phenomenal to see in this.
No, dude. I'm not chat. I'm not sure we're gonna get it. It's so
they're going towards B and Martin already.
They're so far ahead that when it gets to this point, I think we just get wrecked.
Really advised to one-way yourself off.
We might have to just go with the China stream.
Doesn't quite work.
If I can't see them, they can't see me. If I was the 5-year-old playing hide and seek.
I think they're too far ahead.
Work, but they've learned today, and somehow
yeah, we just gotta go China stream.
Has managed to find a pick and
tank it. Yeah, I think so.
But it's a bit of a precarious situation for both.
Let's wait for this round then.
Yeah, we can see the Cove, the high tides, the Viper wall, everything's kind of going up now. The utility being spammed through here for the. You got to remember as well, this is the low buy for the
Project Horizon on YouTube. Oh, that could be okay. That might be the easiest way of doing it. The problem is when the problem with their stream is it's just such low. Like they're on 720p. When I stare at the minimap, I can't see much.
And again, that tried and tested Sage wall. The Eagle stands on top of these King of the World. He's trying his best.
Bro, they got E code though.
Can we get a PSA out for these VCT?
Chat, do they have a YouTube? Yeah.
手感上面，在第2个回合里面看到是非常 OK 的。
这个确实很关键。
For the audio, yeah. I didn't realize that they did it on YouTube as well.
今天看起来的话还是很带劲儿的。
这库洛的这个选择也是付出了一点代价啊，在上方其实是在烟后面去混的，但是被找到轨迹了。
对，这库洛是顶前点，然后掉了，然后后续的话就是在2楼上的队友。
Well, they actually do have one. Okay, it's an eco. I'll try to sort it out off screen.
And particularly, as you said, kind of in this region, they seem to forget that, you know, the lower your buy, typically the better you're doing at close angles. You want to be very much playing at those big ranges. You want to be, you know, let your outlaws, let your marshals, let your guardians, you know, play at the opportune range. If you run into someone, you can get classic right-clicked, or as you said, gunned down by 3 members, and it looks like it could be happening. Baby Blue, very lucky to get away with his life. The outlaw from Kai just not quite landing.
The drone leading the charge just gives a little bit of information that they know there's members on this site, but the question is, do you want to take that risk again? JDG are happy to just give you this site for free, and you have to be asking yourselves, if you're Trace, why are they doing that?
They're just trying to make sure they don't give the same respect that had been given over the previous round. If you do,
look at your minimap, Dante. There's 4 members towards B. They don't even. JDG does not care about A at all. They are happy if this leads.
Did JDG ever get to a Masters? Nah.
I mean, it worked for them. It definitely did. So in theory, you do it again. You're the only member you've got is Baby Blue just sitting there, essentially just waiting for the audio cues to tell his team. And now the full reinforcements, the big brothers of the team.
Thank you for the YouTube link, by the way. Thank you, thank you.
Down as the plant, of course, with the safety of the Cove. And ladies and gentlemen, a repeat of round 1, but with slightly better guns.
Expecting a little bit of chaos here as walls are going to start coming through and gunfights are going to be taken.
Fear them indeed. Play around the Cove excellently. The patience, you've got plenty of time. You don't need to worry about it. And Kai with the first one there doesn't even actually concern. Sees the drone or the dart come through from Baby Blue, doesn't even flick, and everyone from the side of Trace is just taking it down.
JDG might live to regret the eco one.
Quite able to replicate the pistol.
Kai was
at least looks like they're kind of playing the Sage, right? But
the flood retake smokes were just so good at cutting off that site and making it so that backside could be taken. But as soon as Kai gets
can you watch the English commentary?
It just creates a load of question
post it in the
marks for
YouTube
JDG.
chat.
They can't find their way back into the site all of a sudden. And while they had a
Prodigy's
great
already
plan,
on it.
it just gets cut off by Kai.
Does indeed, and the shots, as you'd mentioned, you know, we're going to be seeing them quite a lot, but the positioning here looking quite a bit better, honestly. Kai here managing to get the back up, able to watch towards the screen, towards that backside of the A, because you've got Bianca on that Outlaw just to deal with any sort of swing.
okay,
and the confidence to go through
let's
it,
lock in a little bit
taking
more.
the
We got heavy armors, we get the Outlaw out, and we want to go 3-person. It's 3-person fast B into 3-person defending.
Liu King actually falls with him.
Dude, they went up top with Spike.
Kind
of crazy.
Got a Viper in a smoke, but normally it's their own Vipers.
I didn't realize they added. You see the Spike drop like this on here? I didn't realize they added that on this area.
Trace.
I thought it would just. I thought it would just let you lose the Spike and you would have to jump across.
JDG's positioning, you really look at it. I mean, you've got Jakiro.
Are you watching directly from the English one? They're on 720p.
Cyan on top of that nest, but other than that, look, like 3 people are just essentially in like mid or boiler. There's not really, you know, much in the way of a pure site defense. It's very much just once Trace make a noise, then we're happy to play off of that, and they seem to be kind of making it work. Zion finding Feg and Martin being called out towards that A site, and again, if you're Trace now, you've lost a pick on either side. What do you really do?
I mean, it's just about damage now.
Of this JDG team that we're seeing from the perspective of just being happy to play that retake, looking at contested parts of the map, looking what space they need for that retake. You see this hit now. They're saying, okay, if we keep backside, it's the easiest retake.
Hey,
of our
lovely,
lives.
dude. 2 armor rebuys, that's it.
Because it's just giving unnecessary 1v1s, and this team as a whole is looking completely different to what we saw last split.
Maybe, again, we were kind of talking, you know, maybe if you just keep it working, eventually it will come through. And at the moment, JDG are making that
the Spike there looks
reality.
so funny.
I want to bring out, you know, the composition here as well. Getting the Sage, getting the Killjoy.
Okay, Knives is the only ult on this one. 1 away from Res and 1 away from Harbor ult. So maybe a lot of talk about the orbs at the moment. Yeah, we got a slow at the top. Got shock to prevent them from getting orb. Still goes for it.
Just making their composition work even before their gunplay.
Harbor wall used by Trace to try get access to that orb, but when you disrespect it, when you don't care about it, it does not.
Yeah, I mean the slow just stops people from being able to swing that angle. Can pretty much always get it, unless they updraft here. But
any potential site take.
And when you've got the Silva drone, that oil drone spotting out, I believe 2 members there getting seen, 1 of course getting tagged, and Trace very much respecting the positional control that JDG currently have. There's that little angle you see from Kai.
Okay, lose close A, kind of let them take site. In reaction, push over towards middle.
Trip going down in mid.
I love this. They know that there could be a
Full
flank. They know
passing.
that there's an isolated fight to take, and
this is good though. They break the turret. They can at least,
making sure that Martin
or at least create the pressure that they might be flanking for this retake, and they didn't really lose too much control of A.
Checking out mid must have been the wind as Martin is forced back to join his team. Meanwhile, you see Feng is still trying to lurk down, and JDG are on him. They're trying to get him.
No way, dude. There was no sound for such a long time that they 4-pass and rotated to B. I mean, the Viper solo sold the fake.
Mid to A to B, back to A as the post-plant scenario yet again. Another 5 versus 5 retake.
They're already here.
Got a Harbor ult for the after plan as well. See how long he waits for this one.
Not all 5 members are sight. That harbor ult is going
They're honestly not fighting enough on site against the Sage. They might lose this.
Tempo, though, as the spike is ticking down.
Speaking of pushing that tempo, you've got Kai in the
Oh, that's the Sage though. They might be right.
It's a beautiful first pick
That's
from
such an important kill.
410 immediately falls. Martin gets the frag. This control, you know, 410 is how rotates are made, and Lost Stew and KK Lin are phenomenally working off each other. The double swing,
man, they lost
and
so
it's
many
Baby
jewels
Blue
here.
to
That's kind of
pick up the
crazy.
last remaining member. Plenty of time to
Overall
defuse that
though,
spike,
they
but
can't
masterclass
play the
of a
afterplan
retake
like
from
this. They gotta
JDG
fight
yet
heavier
again.
on site.
Almost just pure perfection the way that they're playing off of each other on these retakes right now. I feel like if you are the side of Trace, you either need to
They did great to kill the Sage
that,
though.
that mid luck is an issue they have to deal with, because
They also might
members
realize that they're
committing
playing
to
heavy
push a
retakes, so they might try and
player
take
out
like
of it
more
is crazy,
space,
because they
like over
know
towards
as
screens
soon as
maybe.
it's a 5-on-5 on site, they can just take the site so easily because they trust each other and play so well off of each other.
I want to bring up as well, and this is why Sage.
What were Trace good at?
I
Trace
still
were good at
stand by,
Lotus
like, I do
and
think he's
Bind,
basically
right?
a fundamentally weak agent
They got
to
both
pick.
of those
Other
maps
Sentinels
back.
do jobs better, but that is how you want to play fights whenever you have a Sage on your team. Even if you trade, you don't, because whoever you've traded stands right back up. We see the res online. I think it's been online now for a round, maybe 2. If you play a 5 versus 5, you know, if you play a
The
5
bind,
versus
yeah, the
1
bind is pretty good.
swing, and you
The
trade
bind was
that,
pretty
you
good
get
in
the
the-
res, you cover whoever tries
their
to
Lotus
counter
was
swing the
pretty
res.
good.
You maybe go actually 2
Was
for
it their
0,
Lotus? I think it was their
depending.
Lotus.
Yeah, okay, you
I
use
can't
the res,
remember.
but
There was
that's
another
really
map
what
they
it's
were really
there
good
for.
at.
And suddenly that round, basically, you know, unless there's a massive clutch potential, you take that back for free.
But now, off the back of this timeout from Trace, it's a situation where they're having to rethink their options.
Ascent?
The question is,
Oh,
do
yeah, it
they
was Ascent. I think that's
keep
right.
testing this A site? It's almost like they feel like they have to prove
Wait,
that they can hit this site,
let me
because
double check.
we've seen from JDG, they leave one member on A and commit 4 players towards B. It's not like you can just rotate off
Where's
of A and go
their-
B,
where's
because
their
there
kickoff
is an
performance?
absolute army just waiting to stop you. And it feels like Trace's options are so limited in this game so far.
It's coming down to their pace.
Stage
I want to
one,
say, I mean, of course,
kickoff.
we have a little bit more information, but right now, what I'm really hoping the coaches have been saying is Trace maybe playing a bit too respectful. I mean, yes, you've got the Killjoy set up to work around, but look again towards that B site. Who is sitting there? It's 3 members of JDG, all pushed up towards that pretty close angle. They're playing off of the Viper while they're playing off of the res, the refrags, and it's a first
It's just
spray
straight through
the
smoke.
for
Wall goes
Jake
up.
Euro to start the round.
Already found that opening pick, and it puts even more pressure. But Martin has
Whoa.
found the perfect timing, the perfect angle.
Unlucky to
But
not
only manages to
to only get one there.
0 manages to get, and that is the ability. That's
Yeah,
that
and
is
then we
why
pick up
Sage
the
Res is
orb as well.
when you play
But they at
a
least
team,
know
when
that
you play this
they're going
cohesively,
heavy
when you
behind
play
here,
this
so they can start
compactly,
taking the
that
extra
is the power
control.
of the Sage Res to go
Bianc?
2 for 0.
Bianc
If
can
you're
win
the
this
side of
round,
Trace,
especially with
it's
ult as
absolutely
well.
heartbreaking. The space has all been controlled in the spike. Still going there, but with only 3 members to defend, and the ultimate's coming online, it's going to be a
He
tough one to
early saw, dude. He saw the
Are
ult.
gonna try hold it. The 2-man army of 2. If anyone's played that game,
There's
on
a
the
res
Xbox,
here.
they would be watching this now, but they just
And he's so
can't
ults
make
here.
anything happen. And it's that opening pick, is that res that you spoke about, Dante. It just came through to
I
pure
get that he
perfection.
had,
You trade
I get
one
that he had
member
1
out,
or
and
2
all of a
running
sudden
in
you
middle,
are
but come
all
on,
5
man.
alive again.
Not only that, and we even seen this perfect res positioning, literally a foot away from the orb, just to pick it back up and go, okay, cool, yeah, you know what? Not only have we got it, yeah, that shot was pretty filthy. The turnaround from Stu, phenomenal work.
Wild
on flank
behavior.
as well, I believe.
And in the
I wanna say,
3v5.
from the shadows actually not being
I
used,
think the
just a
ult there is
pure
like you kill a
perfection of
few and then you
rotation, a
kind of
pure
use the ult.
perfection of position there, and
If it's like a doable
JDG,
1v
you
whatever.
said, looking very
Hopefully
confident,
1,
very
but
strong, and Trace forced
they
into
use
what
the
is
ult
most
there
likely
when they push behind and
2
res
rifles
here
to work with, though. It's
in a
not the worst position to be in. I
3v5.
would have loved to see Kai
Madness.
maybe drop that rifle, play towards the knives. It gives them a few more opportunities, an extra gun in the hands. But with this Viper pit towards B, it's like Tracer being funneled towards A, and we know historically
The Sage?
this
No, I mean, they're
site
trying to
is never a
prioritize the
safe one
Sage to
plant
not
on.
die.
It's
Like that other round where the
terrifying.
Sage was
It's
fast
somewhere that
pick.
you really do
I mean, the
struggle
Sage
with
was like 4th
running
into
that
sight.
Viper's pit and B, especially if you've got Jake Euro. But once again, JDG, the way they're stacking.
Maybe it
is
was Lotus. Yeah, it might have been
impressive, to
Bind
say
and
the least,
Lotus.
you know.
I can't remember
Only
what maps
Jake
they were
Euro
sick
playing
at.
off of the Viper's pit. Everyone else is rotated basically towards that A or towards that mid. You've got
All I remember
both
is getting annoyed
members
that they
there,
didn't pick
Zion
Bind
and KK Lin trying to keep control of kitchen.
in
And it looks like
Bangkok.
everyone is a bit hungry, pushing up.
Time against the Viper ult, they decide to push through mid, split over towards B, 4 middle, 1 waiting.
Absolutely perfection.
Dude, they're everywhere. Look at the minimap.
The elevated angle proves to work yet again. And as the turret has spotted out one member towards orange, it's difficult. Baby Blue has to hold this position alone against the Sheriff and manages to push them back.
Meanwhile, towards that mid, it is Beyond that actually is able to take it out. Stu introducing Kai to the operator that Kai wishes they were holding. The spike is tapped, but it's not stuck. That could end up being pretty pivotal right now as finally Martin gets onto the site. 2 versus 1, the clutch scenario. Taps the spike yet again, waiting for the swing, but the patience from JDG,
no way, missed the shot top side.
10 seconds, he's planted it, he's tapped it yet again, he gets the timing, but the AWP is dropped, and now he doesn't stick it either, he's just running, he's trying to chase him down.
No way, what is this round, bro? Holy dude, what is going on?
Reduces into the shorty and takes the round for JDG,
everyone's
and
doing the Lysol
stance is living it large.
No way.
It's caught on so heavy.
It literally just comes down to that timing. I mean, a rare miss from Stu on that operator gives an opportunity to win this round.
The sub moment sticking close, yeah.
Just can't catch a break, this Trace squad.
This whole round, the whole like 20 seconds of the end of this round was scary as hell.
Going the way of JDG so well, the positioning, but that's not luck, that is the position and that is the ability. Okay, maybe Stu a little bit fortunate there with just how the AWP and the drop came through. Martin playing that as beautifully as he can with the fake taps, but a little bit egregious. Maybe could have
at least say something. Nah, dude, I like the stand up just to stand up. Nothing behind it. It's funny.
Drone going to be used. Hunter's Fury to counter it. Finds the kill. Baby Blue, how do you do so well with that ability? And now the lockdown is forced out.
Dude, the Sage is close to another res.
We've seen how well they do on these retakes already.
I'm surprised there's anyone to push off this side with the lockdown, honestly. I'm surprised JDG
how much space do they take? Yeah, gotta take that deep space. They've been changing up their wall as well, right? They were walling like this earlier. This time they're actually taking deep, mostly because of the Killjoy ult, but they might actually do it into the other rounds. Killjoy on defense, but they got the good plant down. Problem is you can just wall like this to defuse this as well, so they need to try kill the Sage.
Pushing them back. Kai has to find a fight, manages to get one pick, and that could be just what they needed.
They are sticking it through as well. Yeah, the lockdown has now initiated. It's burnt quite a lot of time, but JDG are now repositioning pretty flawlessly. Look at how they are spaced out.
No!
Oh my days, never mind. They are all over as Martin buries 3. Kuro trying his best to equalize.
I was about to say the words. He did good to get one.
What?
But that was mental.
Did we just witness? That might have been the greatest spray transfer I have ever watched in my entire life.
It was incredible.
Again, but oh my days, yeah, hell of a start. Baby Blue here, the call out on the all absolute perfection. Not, you know, arguably good here.
Whoa, it's instant.
That is just clean as, that is squeaky clean for Trace.
That isn't. This is CS. The spray transfers aren't consistent. Like, how do you even?
Yeah, that looks so nice.
That is luck. That is skill. That is RNG. All on your side, just aligning for that one moment. And oh, was it needed by Trace?
It really was. And JDG now calling a timeout, asking how do you manipulate RNG in such a way? How do you?
Champs Trace is back, mate. Oh, relax. Relax. They're losing 5-3.
1 upper, 2 on lower. They were very much there to take the fights, but it was Martin that just said, you can have all the positional advantage you want. I will take you, pull you from heaven myself to equalize this, to bring you down onto the same footing as us. And with that now, JDG only 2 rounds above the econ, looking pretty solid for Trace. And let's not forget the amount of utility expended for that round from both sides.
But I do think, you know, JDG not going to be too worried. It's one retake that went wrong in a sea of successes for them. And you spoke about it. I honestly was surprised that when that lockdown went down, they weren't checking mid. They weren't looking for a fight. But the one difference that Trace made is they committed more to fighting this site together. They didn't pull back. As soon as that JDG squad came through, they looked to fight them in those opening entrances.
I think that is coming down to it. We mentioned it earlier, Trace not respecting JDG quite as much. Okay, if you want to play mid, if you want to play retakes, that's fine, but we're going to play a pace that you have to match. We're going to play it very fast, very aggressive, and JDG now on the pretty low buy. You've got Baby Blue on the Stinger. Jakiro has managed to pull himself up a Guardian, but other than that, it is light shields or no shields galore, and the utility even not quite up to scratch. Trace really want to put this in the bag, but as you've said before, Snow, the amount of thrifties that come through from this region, it needs to be studied.
I honestly would never count a team out when it comes to a thrifty, especially in this region.
Hey, Recon to clear the question mark over towards A. Are they going to stay strong? It didn't clear behind her. And it wasn't the best.
A little bit of money into this one.
The meeting in mid, it's between these two, Martin and Jakiro. The tension, the quietness, the
Did he
steps.
run?
Oh, Martin is just there.
Oh,
There's no time. Kiro has given the position up immensely, and Kitchen now in control of the opposing Killjoy once that turret is dealt with.
Martin's pushing for more. Being a little bit greedy here, could potentially get caught out and give a rifle away, but if their timing is perfect, it wouldn't even matter.
Oh, the turret comes
It's a
through,
great
the
shot,
wide
man.
swing, and Martin
Dude,
falls.
he's
Good for
hitting
one, as
some
you said,
shots.
that is now a gun given up.
Yeah,
And
they do get a low upgrade, but
guys, give them a bit more control.
Playing so far back, I mean, yeah, good decision making from Kai, moving up here, wants to take this early fight and manages to do so.
That's more what you want to see. There is a lot of utility.
Damn, nice shot as well.
Still, we've seen how confident JDG are with positioning if you give it to them. And Trace almost hearing
yeah, they
me
might be
and
warming up a little bit.
Okay, yeah, we can push up. We've got
In
the
some
gun advantage.
in two insanely nice
Someone needs
rounds.
to let Kai know that Blade Storm's not going to last until next half. It's not one that you can save until the pistol round, because I feel like there's numerous rounds where we've seen Kai have the ability to pop that Blade Storm and maybe, you know, either have some effectiveness in terms of buying a rifle for their team, or just if they want to go a bit more aggressive and not give the
what are you-
opportunity for JDG to
what are you
set up their
typing?
retake, but isn't needed to be used in that round. Could be used in a future round if they feel like they need it, but so far Kai just playing without it.
I believe, as you said, no, that hasn't been tapped yet. Maybe I just seen the knife. I actually thought it had been pulled through. But speaking of respecting or lack of, look at Stu's position here with the operator. It's not going to find anyone. Trace either all committed towards that top bell or towards that mid side to try and find any lurks, any mispositioning from the side of JDG, who, speaking of, I don't think I have seen two members on top of that screen in potentially years.
I mean, the thing is, this op will find someone, but it's whether
Does he get out here as an Omen?
Shu gets the kill. The TP is short. Nobody's there to trade
I mean,
it.
yeah,
Kai
but
just doesn't find the timing to
I'm
peek
not
out,
sure.
and Stu gets
I'm
out
not
with
sure
their
about
life.
it.
Very, very fortunate for JDG. Could have went entirely differently. Although, again, any positional control now, JDG are going to be grouped up, playing that kind of death ball that we've been talking about. Because if you look, there is one ultimate online for JDG, and it could result in a 6 versus 5. Trace
The rotate here is so
enough, look to have enough
fast.
control to maybe get this plant down, but JDG are there to take the fight straight back.
Cove is great to
Yeah, I
fake
got him
the
locked
presence
in
of
with the
where
passing
plant's
behind
gonna
as
be. They
well.
get the spike
I'd be
down,
tempted to use
but
the
now as
harbor
this
ult here, but I
harbor wall
think they
drops,
still lose the
there's
rounds.
multiple long-range fights that are gonna have to be
Ooh, hold
taken.
up. Kai could own this.
Behind you, Trace. Look.
Oh, it's a pretty well-timed
It's gonna
harbor
need
ult.
to happen
Keep an
a
eye on the
little
flank
bit
behind.
faster, but you can see the angle.
Dude, no one's
You can
expecting
see
this.
The position in the Viper wall is being held.
Ah, dude,
by
he's owned it,
two,
right?
Nearly 3 members of Trace. The timing from Jake Hero is absolutely perfect. He's good for 2. The rest of his team
Ah,
now
dude,
need
he
to
played
back him
this
up,
so
or he can
nice.
just do it all himself. Baby
Got into the
Blue
little cubby,
able
that
to
was
pick up
awesome.
Beyond, and that
I mean,
is
they
a
just had too many
flank and
people
a
here
half.
as well.
Exactly how JDG
I
wanted
also
that
think
to go.
that they probably don't take
All
enough
I'm saying
space
now
against
is Trace is
the
gonna take
Sage.
the play out of JDG's book, and we're going to see 4 people mid. Something has to stop these lurks, but yeah, it's not having access to that Sentinel util. Sentinel goes down as the first isolated player. Now all of a sudden you have nothing to watch flank, and while Feng Feng was there to, in theory, get that kill, the Viper wall just gives such an advanced positioning.
It's an incredible push up there, as you said. Getting that little box on the right side is just a phenomenal play, a phenomenal position, almost a punish off of the Viper wall. Again, it's a great one to attack into, but we can see the angles that can be played, the timings that can be gained as we move on to another full buy, and Trace really wanting to get this round on the board if they want it, but JDG, KK Lin already saying that 4 is all you get this half.
Trace doesn't want that to be so as they carry on pushing, and Martin with this mid lurk
Dude,
has managed
Martin's
to find
been a
themselves
nightmare.
a kill. But with the push through onto site, it is just
It's a nice change up from them though, actually fighting over towards site.
And Trace has to back away.
Yeah. Literally use their wall here to kind of fight this.
You had asked so badly for has finally been used.
Not just keeping it as one-dimensional as it has been.
You know, try not to give all the value, but now welcome to the Viper's Pit. If you want to try,
yeah, I think it was a bit of a rush Viper pit, but you can at least find safety in it.
No, you're gonna have to be funneled through mid, and JDG playing off of that forced positioning. It's gonna all be down to Zion. The timing he gets found, that is
Martin looks like he's aimbotting, man. this guy's a beast right now.
As much time as possible for this 3 versus 2 retake.
It's not the best part to play off though, but that kill will give them the space they need. The lockdown gives them the timing to rotate to find these positions.
Now, speaking of Martin,
dude, he has no hesitation.
Back to get into this kitchen.
Look how fast he is here. Of course, it's another headshot. Martin's unbelievable.
With that operator with the gun that is oh so
dude, he's not even over peeking, not giving them a chance to get a kill into it.
Definitely intended to save.
A sick 2v4 from He just hit every shot though.
I'm very ashamed.
You should be ashamed.
Oops.
But Shu finds that pick there, should be able to get out with the operator and their life. But okay.
Respect.
It was a sick round from him.
Now it's that situation where JDG's gonna have to change something up. Trace has been finding multiple rounds and showcasing that they don't have to just hit a site. When they see that JDG is playing towards this retake, they look for lurks like this. They look for these picks and try to force out these 1 versus 1s. And I mean, it didn't quite work for them in the early round, but Martin had an absolute play for their life getting a 4K there. And you know, it's a 2v4. It's not a replicatable round, but it is a round that Trace wins.
It is indeed, and of course that does give them any momentum to try and actually make this into 6-6. Jakiro deciding, okay, you know what, you did something really good with position, you were really solid at that, I'm just going to meet you with this judge before anything else could happen. And look, actually, it's not just Jakiro, there's already 3 members. JDG getting a taste of what it's like to be on defense next half.
Okay, Kai already knows. Yeah, it definitely hurts when you take a bullet through the head. But Kai reading that one perfectly, they knew that JDG was going to change something up, was going to try push the tempo, and they're just chilling.
What did the ace so bad? Yeah, he really hunted it. I mean, it was actually a sick round.
As you see, these 2 players are so tempted to try find a flank.
They want that res. It's last round. No ultimate.
I think Fanatics, Gecko, Sage comp would work without a Teo. I mean, didn't they?
And Feng shutting it down. No res for you.
How are these people hitting these shots?
Resurrection, arguably the most powerful.
Yeah, I mean, they could just literally get the Teo out and put the Sov in. That's what I thought they were going to do. But
probably not in the best position as now the scrap for the A site. It's gonna go the way of Trace to equalize the half.
And it's difficult.
Get to replay this double kill here.
So dominant.
They were going to go for the Sage
They
res.
had a plan, they had a strat, they knew what was going to work for them, but then Trace just found a way to read it. It was these lurks, it was finding these opening picks, which shut down the play of JDG. They wanted to play that 5v5
Oh, what
retake.
is that last kill?
Okay. They wanted to play that 5 versus 5 retake, but if you don't give them the opportunity to get into those retakes 5 versus 5, it doesn't matter how much prep they have and how many protocols they have for that situation. It just won't work.
I mean, you know, at this stage, every team has those plays, exactly as you said, those protocols, those fundamentals, but those strats, those executes all rely on every piece of utility. The minute you start to lose one, then you have to adapt, you have to change it around. And what I really loved, honestly, seeing from Trace was how deep the spike plant started to go. You know, on that round with the 4K that we've seen from Martin, you'd mentioned that it's not exactly the best position to play off of the spike, which absolutely is just in a vacuum a completely true statement, but Trace all of a sudden forcing it to be a solid position from them, basically off of the back of Martin's awareness and just completely insane ability to read the map.
And this is what I love from teams like this, right? Teams like Trace and this region as a whole, they recognize that in situations where their numbers they have to make what some people might call an int play, an aggressive play that is very high risk, because if you just play standard, it's not going to work.
Did it
They're
normally.
4 versus 2, the numbers are on their side. It's going to work in their favor. So you have to take that high risk, high reward play. And Martin did it to perfection. And there were a few other rounds as well where we saw Trace taking these advanced positions in the post plant, which was a very high risk, but the reward for them was huge.
I think the biggest one that's coming to my mind is how often Bianca's played on top of 410, which, you know, if you're sitting on top of 410, you are a big target. Yes, okay, you do have the height advantage, but if someone swings you from heaven,
the Sage on attack, they get the wall. Dude, Sage isn't on plant GTs, that's interesting.
Everyone, honestly, I mean, Bianca only on 5 and 9, but the frags that he has been landing have been
Double
super
sheriff.
pivotal, so they cannot, the KDA doesn't tell you the whole story.
And a 6-6 first half. It's almost like we're starting the game afresh. It's all about who's better on this side right now.
Kind of like that idea.
Right, the pistol round
he goes wide to see if anyone's pushing through to get a duel, and then even when he dashes out, he'll get info on the minimap of how many numbers are here.
Looked like both Viper walls towards A, actually, but that
cool little microplay. You also maybe don't expect him to just insta-swing this. Okay, they plant out on the side as well. A little bit easier for the shocks if they had them. They don't have them. Do they still have Omen Flash?
But they're so far back, JDG, on this. It's going to come down to these gun.
Keep an eye on the mid lag. They got a deep alarm bot, so they know about it early. Wall goes in. Got Harbor, Cove as well. And dude, that's a half. It's just if it can be anything more. It's absolute chaos.
To be honest, the only reason I know that is because the game is telling me that was a party.
But wait,
yeah, that was people leaping
I'd
through
lost
smoke,
the.
jumping which way everywhere. And
It said that they got off the
spike. You
spike.
have so many controllers in one game. It just comes down to these timings. Who finds that perfect position to get through the smoke and sticking the spike here? It's Kai being a menace on the backside.
Dude, I was so sure he got off of it because it stopped here. Bro, insta Cove and then just stuck it the whole time. It bugged you. Yeah.
For this JDG squad, who so far was looking really good in that first half.
They really were, and it could all be down to this harbor, honestly. I mean, the Cove, such a strong piece.
Okay, they keep doing this though on defense. Early alarm bot.
There should be a disco ball hanging from the top of that orb just to invite
Yeah, I'm
everyone
pretty sure Jake Hero is close enough to hear this.
You know, even after you break the orb, it does take, I believe it's
They confused the hell out of me.
So you've still got time to either stick a defuse or, you know, get a plant down, vice versa, whatever scenario you're in. So the utility, the flexibility of Cove as well, particularly then to dance around it and use it as a kind of ISO shield, sometimes can be phenomenal.
Okay,
so
everyone buying here as well, so every kill is important.
Of JDG, if they do manage to get this spike onto site, especially if it is a retake situation, so much stall utility. They've got the mollies from this Viper, from this Killjoy. They've got the shock darts as well. If you can get onto this site essentially for free, the Cove is going to have less effectiveness.
That's true.
Okay, wall on the left. They get a safe plan though, so they got to fight over towards site. And again, it's pretty much about damage, and every kill does matter. Got a lot of heavy armors. Everyone's bought a gun. Ooh, I like this recon for retaking though. Behind the Jenny.
Oh, perfect paranoia! Shuts off the attack.
Wait, what was going on there?
They're just trading all back and forth again. Play these. Fang! That's a smoke! You're not meant to be able to see through that. The Spectre that comes through from Leo King. KK
it's unlucky. It's unlucky though. I like. He just took the gamble with it. Dude, they did incredible damage. He's gonna pick up a Bulldog here at the end, but they lost 2 Bulldogs and 2 Spectres.
Happened like 2 or 3 times where these teams are expecting the player
What's going on, bro? Absolute chaos.
Or tap the spike and then peek out, but people have just been sticking. They've just been not caring. They've just been sitting the smoke, sticking, taking that
it's twice.
risk.
It's twice.
You know what? Why not
it's twice there's been a Coven to stick.
Out, you look like an absolute god.
And Fang surely feeling like an absolute
yeah, I mean, he made sound close to the Cove.
Trace,
I'm surprised the guy stuck it.
2 rounds back to back. Both defuses have been so solid. JDG.
Dude, look at this bonus.
A bit slow, a little bit
Nothing.
Kind of
they got sheriffs at least.
When it comes down to it, not quite being able to play the
one away from a Sova ult. That's pretty much it.
Or not quite able to play the very violent attack that Trace
was trying to run. It's insane how much mayhem is in these games consistently.
They don't really have much in terms of getting to site. If you're hoping for a duelist to create space, you ain't got that. You've just got an Omen, which can be effective in a similar way, as I'm a little bit worried for J.K. on this side of the map. 3 players waiting.
I mean, he's dead, right?
Watching.
This might be a
This
gun.
just could be their life going down.
Okay, but that's a gun to pick up. Are they going to speed up here? I'm not sure if they saw the harbor.
That is the information, though, that is told. At least one more, and you can see JDG almost burst into action, almost kind of awake that the you know, the activation word has been said, and they have now shot into action as they just push on. Managed to take their trades, managed to take their frags, get the plant down for the defensive strat. They've still got quite a lot. They've got the Sage Wall from Zion. That's going to go down for this post plant. And Kai actually, though, able to bring down KK to equalize the numbers.
How much comp have you been playing? Are you expecting this Sage to be in the ratty spot behind the wall or not? It's going to be difficult for Kai and Lower King. They're going to have to really find a way to isolate some of these gunfights. But with that player going down, it's Kai left all alone. And there is nothing.
Still, though, they made it pretty costly.
And now we find ourselves in a situation where both these teams have proven that on both attack and defense, they have the prowess to match each other 1-for-1.
It seems to be the beautiful way of doing it. This entire swing here, beautiful shot from J.K. Immediate follow-up, though, is exactly as good. The paranoias we've got to really mention have been stellar from both sides. Stu, in particular, every time there seems to be a fair gunfight, the screen goes black. Someone turns my monitor
Sova all into this one. It's a big buy rounds, right? Everyone.
You know I prefer to play with
8 people can't buy.
Because somehow it's not going to make me any worse than I already am. But for these players that are playing here, we would prefer their monitor to stay on
it's the classic. Oh boy, a little double in there. No kill, but still. One is regen armor. Yeah, I mean, this is just been the classic for about 3 years now. Sova all insta drone tag, send it. You can make a lot of space with it as well.
No plasters with little cutesy animals to be able to stick on.
While that was going on, we took a lot of space over towards B. We have a lurk in mid, and the turret did go off for a little bit, and that's a great shot, man.
Trace has 3 members here, though. This is their stack site. Fung is so far up, they know it has to be
good value from the ult. You always get. I'm telling you, this Sova drone here into insta tag ult is just so strong. There's a reason that people would just do that every single time when they have ult.
We see J.K. trying to come through. It might be a bit too late.
Double?
As KK is trying his absolute best to buy as much time as possible. J.K. swings the angle, but not with intent. Gets picked, and the spike still down. KK trying his best. Does get the swing, but
there's some nice shots going down there.
Super ready. Knows that was a true drop and just takes the
Soap
head.
Astic, thank you so much with the prime, dude. Appreciate that. Thank you.
For that was the fact that map control was all on the side of Trace. I don't know if you saw in your mini-maps, but Fung was pushed up so far up through B, had the entirety of that side of the map controlled because they knew exactly where everybody was from this JDG squad, and it meant that when you have an idea of where they're going to be...
Yeah, Feng did really good. Took the space once they realized they were going heavy A, and then he never like overstepped.
Really got to be said, you know, they've been really putting on a masterclass in the defense in Icebox. It's pretty... I wouldn't say
the
it's
backup
pretty
stinger, we've got a hero Bucky, we've got Stu's ult. Surely this isn't a set round of a Bucky ult. Could be.
JDG haven't quite been able to replicate it just yet. We've been seeing these very kind of big splits.
I guess you could go here, and it's pretty good.
And the Silva drone coming through, the oil drone trying to find its mark. But Martin just all the way comfortable in nest. He doesn't really want to get picked out by that oil. He's happy just to sit there as the little birdie is.
Has the alarm bot though, so they are going to know that this site hit is happening as soon as this unit
starts
to come
if they
through.
wanted to with a plant, if they got the plant, it could be Viper ult. I like the idea though. It's not too bad. TP top of site, you go into the cubby, and then you go through the wall into your own smoke.
Shepherd's pie, man. More of a different sort of food as he takes down another in the form of Baby Blue. The Sage slow.
Did they still put the Viper into it?
No, falls from J.K. You need to find this. You need to force the advantage, but Martin just seems happy to tear you all apart.
Dude, that's unlucky, no? 2 of them hit.
Bianc follows it up, and KK Lin all the way towards that nest. Sees the cove, tries to get the nade down. Gets one at least for their troubles, but
I like the idea from JDG.
The amount of high
not too bad.
impact rounds that Martin has had has been absolutely insane.
Dude, Martin's unbelievable.
This player has got so many 3Ks,
Yeah,
4Ks
he's not wrong. He's
sitting
on
single-handedly, and
2 3Ks and 1 4K
JDG, it's like,
just
what
one map.
can you even do to shut this player down, because they are always in a perfect position.
I mean, that looked like a great attempt, you know, teleport in, meet the Bucky, play that close range angle, but instead, just the position.
Viper ult, yeah, they really kind of rushed this one. 3v5, Viper ult, eco.
Trace very much warming up, and you can see JDG looking a little bit concerned.
I would be as well if I was them. Their attack half so far has not been really good. I mean, they had that one good round, but Trace has been dominating them for the rest of this half. And
well, the coaches writing their notes after every round, just like what's going down, what worked, what didn't, who's playing where, what kind of setup were they using. Just any kind of notes that you want to say in the timeout, in case you forget.
It works, and when it doesn't,
you're basically just trying to paint a picture. You're trying to paint a picture of like because again, you can only see half of the map, right? You can only see your stuff, so you're trying to work out like what's behind here, and then you're also trying to work out like what's working. Are we taking A main easy? Are they taking it for free? Were there 3 on site here? Do we need to create pressure elsewhere? Who was on site? What kind of setups are they doing? Are we finding the killjoy turrets? Are we finding the alarm bots? Did we lose just because of ults? Or did we like mess up? Are they retaking heavy over towards A? Do we need to fight more over towards site? Just everything, basically. Everything that you want to say in the timeout.
In that regard, where basically anyone else would have been a better choice.
Aggressive push down tube here from Trace as well. Mid control completely gained now. That alarm bot is just going to force JDG into a
I think every coach has like their different way of doing it.
Commit fully to one site, or they have to dedicate resources to
like some break it down round by round, some just do like bigger picture stuff.
Choosing to dedicate the resources there. I honestly believe at this moment now JDG just
might be a little different now that you can have assistant coaches as well. Could have other people looking for certain stuff.
Very much split, trying to, you know, doing similar retakes to JDG, not quite to the same, you know.
Yeah, recon that goes over towards here can't be shot from sight.
But very much Trace just happy to wait them out.
Yeah, and we got nothing to stop this plant. Big Joel over towards middle. Okay, well, completely wrecked him.
KK Lin falling in that mid lurk.
What ults do they got for retake? Killjoy ult? They didn't fight aggro enough, really. Keep an eye on this, maybe. Do the omens in such a good off angle.
Could have been everything, but Stu misses it.
Did they use their... Wait, that's kind of sick.
The exact same philosophy coming down here as the lockdown is gonna pop. Zion trying his best to get as many frags.
Yeah, I mean they just had two
quite enough as Fung
two good ults for this one.
The deal, and this is getting harder and harder for JD.
Yeah, they had to take way more space.
The discipline from Trace, right? You see,
it does feel like both of the teams at the moment are playing like a standard Icebox, and maybe sometimes they're not like considering the ults or who they're playing against agent-wise, that they need to maybe take more space. Like both teams are at fault for this.
And it just works so well for them.
Worked flawlessly. There's no real concerns at the moment. There's no space being granted here. Trace are absolutely developing a masterclass here the last 3 rounds. Very confidently.
3 shorties getting bought out because they got a Viper ult and they are using it insta.
The Viper's pit now being used from Fung here, just trying to find and cut off as much of A site as possible, and it seems though JDG not entirely dissuaded from this site just yet.
And it's interesting because we
bit of a classic from JDG as well, right? You got Sage. Basically, when you have a Sage res, the most common thing you'll see is on attack, people will fight here because you drop down, and then on defense, normally people play on here because you drop down. It's just like a secure res. That's like the most common thing that will happen on attack and then defense. It's very hard to position with a Sage res, really. Like you want to try, in theory, fight more in this box on defense, but it's easier said than done. Dude, he's gonna get boss for this.
This is what you want. You want Zion to try. No, he's off on his own. Zion, the res. He might actually find the angle, though. He picks up one. The fight's a little bit scrappy for the second. He falls, and the pinstripe is just back.
Dude, look at this round, man. What are we meant to be watching? It's 7 kills in 1 second, and there is 3 individual 1v1s being taken at the same time.
quite have the spike just yet, and with only 20 seconds, they have to do something, and falling to Luo King is not the option, Baby Blue, 1 versus 1.
And has to stick here, has to commit to this spike, but Luo King's already in such a good position and has access to that wall as well. But J Kuro has a bit of a sneaky trick of their own.
Dancing around it. It's also as well just looking purely at the
yeah,
kill feed. 19-15
this wall
versus
creates
7-14.
so much
Luo King
pressure.
not quite as warmed up on the guns as J Kuro does look to be. He's actually trying to
Could
find
legit
out
be
where
anywhere.
the spike
Might
is
just want to
at the
smoke this
moment.
one
Just
off.
a
He might
little
literally just
bit
cover
concerned.
it. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Believes it's a fight towards the snowman. Does find it now. Just taps it, but gets the spray. Knows where the bullet tracers are. Just waiting it out. Timing is everything. Swings through.
Damn, he
Kuro
played
just
this
sticks in
really
the
well
corner,
though.
but
Fair
gets
play.
found out, and there
Did
is
that
still
great.
time
He was
enough
very
for the
patient with it.
defuse. Luo King, a beautiful clutch.
Dude, any kind of smoke
Played
agent in a
to
1v1 when you have to
perfection,
defuse
and
is just
it's
so
one
good.
of those where you're not expecting it. You're not expecting a Harbor to swing through the wall. With that slowdown, it's not always an advantageous situation for them to try take that fight. There's a little bit of chaos we see from
Oh, there
both
was
these
so
teams
much
here, but at the end
chaos.
of the day, it doesn't matter
Smoke
about
and spawn,
how
Omen
chaotic
ult
the round
there
is,
as
it
they
matters about
push through
who
tube.
wins the round, and it was Trace, who I believe has now pushed themselves up to map point.
Map point indeed, and the buys not looking the
Yeah,
best
same thing, right?
for JDG at the moment. We
For
are seeing
five
two
chances
Guardians
on this
online,
one,
which
same thing. They
have
just have
absolutely been able
Sage
to make
res, so
work, but
they're
if
going to
you
be
look at
dueling
those
here.
shields, and if you look at what Kai's
Apart
holding,
from it looks like the
this
Sage
could
wants to take
very
the duel
well be
fast.
Judge, jury, executioner, depending, but instead it's actually J Kuro yet again to find another pick towards the mid and finally maybe open up something for JDG.
Arbor rework when? I'm not sure. But they teased it in Champs, right?
Boost up that HP a bit more. It's not something we often see.
Well, they
in pro
teased that
players.
it's
These
happening
guys are
soon.
so good at hitting headshots, but it might have its effectiveness here as this site takes coming through. The Outlaw looking to peek out, but it will find nobody.
And in fact, it's Stu with the Guardian, who is one to find their own. The Paranoia actually does find its target here.
Yeah,
We
just
see
don't
J
want to
Kuro
see a
just
Harbor ult.
hiding with that 4 HP on top of 410. He's on
Arbor
Martin's
gets
screen, I
tempting,
don't
but
think
should
Martin
still
spots
save
him
it.
out. Picks up one on towards Zion, going right underneath Kai as Martin and co are trying to get
Oh,
this
okay.
back.
I was gonna
Retake.
say
Outlaw
if
finds one, the swing
there's a
from
little
Martin
pause in
finds two,
between,
finds
dude,
a third.
this guy's
He's
unbelievable.
absolutely
Martin
insane
is
with it, and Kai
unbelievable.
finishing up the first
3
map,
3Ks
13-7, an absolutely
and 1
insane and
4K.
literal killjoy.
How
There might have been more.
can a player have so much impact in a game? I feel like any time Trace
He
needed to
played
win a round,
insane.
Martin
What did
was
he end
like,
on?
All right, let's go. I'll kill
do
them all.
They look at them all
like,
just
oh,
celebrating
we
for him.
wanna win this game?
That's
Okay,
nuts.
I'll just kill everyone. Like it's just